This video is brought to you by Miniature Market. Thousands of board games, miniatures, and paints, discount prices at miniaturemarket.com. Hello everybody. Today we're going to be looking at a game that I really can't show you anything. And this is one of those times that you have to go on my faith and my word to you, and that a system is great. Because to show you the game spoils the game, and that's something I don't want to do unless we're doing a playthrough and I have a big thing that says, hey, you know, I'm going to play this through. If you're never going to get the game, maybe you want to step in and look at this. Today we're going to be looking at and talking about the series as a whole in a bit, but the latest edition, and I'm going to make sure I hold this because I only have one arm, Aeons and Outcasts. Another great, I have to consider this, and I've thought about this when considering on doing this, probably one of the greatest deck builders of all time. The longevity that it's had, it's been around almost since I've started doing videos, and all the pieces that come with it, whether it be this new system that they do, the expedition system, which I really like. They keep reinventing themselves, and I get sucked in every single time. The Legacy Edition, the original edition, whether you had the first edition or the second edition. You know, there's just so much greatness to this, and it tells this beautiful story, and all the things that you have to face, and the artwork, and the ingenuity behind this game. There's only one thing for me to do, and that's to take you down to the table. Take a look at a few things. You got to trust me on this, okay? Because I want to show you how beautiful the components are, and things like that. And some of the new characters that you're going to get with Outcast, and a really cool villain, by the way, and explain to you why I can't show you everything. And then come back and kind of talk a little bit more about what I feel is a fantastic system. And in this day and age, if you are looking for something to play solo, this is a fantastic experience to play solo. Let's go down the table and check it out. Now, there's no way I can really go through and show you a lot of the stuff here, but when I tell you you get tons of cards, I mean you get tons of these packs that you stop at each point after you go and you read what is a narrative. There's a ton of narrative in here which really builds this beautiful story. The Expedition series is really just fantastic, whether you're playing Aeon Legacy or any of the other ones, but this Outcast just adds even more. And it adds a bunch of new stuff, curses, simultaneous effects, and wandering. You're going to be protecting allies, which is really interesting. And the story is beautifully told in intros to each one of the battles. Forgive me if I have a tough time showing you this. I only have the one arm. Again, I wanted to just kind of show you some of the new characters that you're going to be able to play, and of course they have their story behind them. And what's nice is they give you a complexity rating as far as how you feel in experience on playing them. You have your breaches, of course, and one of the things that makes up the game is opening and closing the breaches, and being able to fuel up your spells and things like that. As we can see, we've got the art is just absolutely fantastic. Tariq, Kel, Alea, and each one a little easier or harder, and it depends on on how much you've played Aeon's End. If this is your first time, you can start with a lower complexity and work your way up. One of the things that makes this game is the nemesises. And here you have Experiment 153. Just really cool. Tells you how to set up and get prepared for it. And then you got to take this dude's ears off. See how this kind of works all together? And really neat how that all kind of comes together. Like, let me just move this. As you go through things, you're going to be opening up envelopes, and it's going to add more to this chapter of this expedition. You just kind of just stay with everything, and there's just more things that you're going to have to deal with, different types of enemies and stuff like that. And there's just so much playability here. It's just, and the thing is once you finish this, it has an end of expedition rulebook, which shows you how to reset everything, score out what you've done, and then go back and possibly do it with maybe another mage and work your way through. The game, again, the components are just absolutely ridiculous and gorgeous, of course. And you could play this, it scales up or scales down depending on how many players you're going to play. You're going to have your breaches in front of you, as you can see. Here is your market, more or less, where you're going to be bringing these spells in. And the thing about it is, as you're bringing things in, you strategically have to think where you want to put these in your discard. Okay, do I want to buy this? Do I want to bring this now and put this into my discard? Because you don't shuffle your discard. All you do is just flip it over. So if you're top heavy, and yeah, you can get through a couple areas and then you find you're weaker on the bottom of your deck, that could be a real problem for you. So there's so much strategy and thinking to this. And this is why this is one of the greatest deck builders ever made in my mind. Again, like I said, beautiful components. The rule book just very, very easily. And of course, listen, we don't edit anything. If I'm going to do this one hand, this is all you're going to get. Just explains everything, takes you through the anatomy of each card, beautifully portrayed, shows you how to kind of start everything up from your starting hand to your bottom of your deck, working your way through, and then, of course, giving you some player turns so you understand how the game flows. And it's done beautifully, easy to read, beautiful art. I mean, when you talk about rule books, I don't think there's any cleaner. You're going to have score counters to keep track of life of both your nemesis and yourself. And these things are just, of course, perfect, as well as anything else in this box. Now, Outcast is the newest edition of a ton of Aeon's End, and I really suggest, if you have the means and the chance, to go back and start, with the Depths, the Nameless, Legacy, and work your way through and see why this is such a beautiful experience. Let's head on top and get my final thoughts on Aeon's End, Outcasts, and Aeon End as a deck builder itself. I love this system. I love this game. One of the things that really makes it unique, and especially in my condition right now, is you don't shuffle your cards. Okay? As you play your cards, you strategically have to kind of figure out how to place them in your discard pile, because all you do is just go whoop, and then you're back, you're back in the game. And if you do it correctly, you can kind of balance on how you attack and how you cast your spells and things like that. The beauty of opening and breaches and trying to build up this, this well oiled engine. If you make mistakes, you can find yourself, oh geez, you know, I'm kind of top heavy on cards, but going to the end here, it's going to be a struggle to get through, and that can affect how you get through, you know, some of these missions and things. This game is fantastic. You know, the New Age, I really love the expedition system. Some of the things like with the War Eternal, the Void, the Outer Dark, and I'm actually trying to keep track of all the names of the systems, because there's so much out there with the Legacy, the Nameless, the Depths. There's so much to this, and I wanted to mention it all because all of it just builds into this beautiful crescendo of a game, and it does so much. And as you saw, the art, you know, the components are beautiful. I wish I could have showed you the cards, and how you just have this system that over the years has grown into this thing that's I always feel that it kind of sits a little bit under the radar, that you know, that this needs to be considered as one of the greats, because I really think, as far as a deck builder, this is probably one of the best games out there. And if you haven't had a chance to play it, especially nowadays with everything going on, and we don't mention it here and we don't go into it, but my point is to point out that here is a system that if you start from the beginning and you haven't had a chance to, this is something that you really want to do, because I believe me, you will enjoy this. You could play this solo. You could play this cooperatively. There's ways to do it over the internet and things like that. There's a lot of interesting ways, and you will have a game that is very satisfying. And let's face it, we all need a little help to get through things nowadays. So this, I really feel, is something that is fantastic. Aeons and Outcasts just adds even more, adding curse cards. The curse cards, what they do now is that if you're told by a particular card to take the curse card, that's going to really mess up your flow and things like that. And then more things, the simultaneous effects, as well as instead of protecting the land, you are protecting a person. There's after a certain mission, your job is to protect someone, and I really think that is another really fascinating aspect of this. This is just, I love this. I always will love it, and I wanted to share this with you, and I hope that for those of you that have never tried this out, really go out and take a look at this system. You won't be disappointed. Until next time, it's your old pal Rob. We'll see you soon.